Namaskar. Namaskar means the divinity in me greets the divinity within you. This is the culture that we come from. The unity of this culture that we call Bharat, our motherland. And it is our endeavor to make this motherland prouder because it already is very, very proud. Aham Bramhasmi. Out of the 4 Mahavakyas, Aham Bramhasmi is one of the Mahavakya, coming from the Upanishads. Aham, Brahma, Asmi. Aham, me, I. Brahma, Brahma, Brahman, Brahmand. Asmi, within me, or I am. Being a lawyer, I am professionally trained to dissect things, to tear them apart, and to create something. In a way, you can say, if there is a connotation or there is a notion that has been given to me, I destroy it completely and I create something out of it. Today, when I speak to you, I intend to give some of my life experiences. I know that a lot of material is there already on the internet, and at the click of a button, all of you will find loads and tons of material on Aham Bramhasmi, the paradox of vulnerability and power in the age of AI. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to all of you what I am, who I am, what I am professionally trained to do, and over the past 2 decades, working with the who's who of the legal industry, delivering hundreds of lectures to ignited and vibrant minds like all of you in various universities and gurukulas all over the country. What my experience is, how vulnerable I am, and what is the power that I wield from all these vibrating minds. Yesterday, I had an experience. Normally when we talk, we always talk with a story. We start with a story or an anecdote, right? That is to catch the attention of the audience. Today, I'm going to tell you a live experience that I had yesterday night, as fresh as yesterday night. I reached Pune at 4 a.m. in the morning. Yesterday night, I was traveling in my German automatic, huge, white elephant size SUV, right? And my driver, who is barely 12th pass, okay? About at 12ish midnight, I was traveling from Beat district to Pune, right? Because I had a commitment to come and meet all of you here. He is driving German technology, no doubt you can trust it blindly. AI, automated vehicle, artificial intelligence or intelligence and technology at its best. But this 12th pass driver of mine tells me, sir, there is some problem. I said, what? I'm sitting right next to him. He tells me, sir, there is some kind of a sound that is coming from the left tire of the vehicle. I'm not naming the vehicle on purpose. I said, I don't hear any sound. He said, nahi sir, there is a sound. So we pull the car on side of the road, right? And we inspect. We don't find anything. We again sit back in the car, we travel about 5 kilometers ahead, and there is slightly a louder sound that is coming. Now I also hear it because I am sitting on the left hand side and I can hear that sound, right? I said, Haribhav? Correct. My driver's name is Haribhav. So I said, okay, let us check. So we travel 5 kilometers still ahead. Now by this time, I am about 90 kilometers from Pune. And then the sound gets a little louder and louder, and I can feel the drag because it's a big SUV. About after 10 kilometers, we suddenly feel that the drag has increased, and we had to stop at a place. We saw, and there, the disc brake had slipped, okay? And the axle was a little jammed because of a pebble that had got stuck into it. What do we make out of this? I think this is nothing but the awareness of the mind, which predominantly is the difference between an automatic or an automated technology working on basis of intelligence, artificial intelligence, which you trust blindly, and on other hand, you have my driver, who is such an expert and expertise that just by that much of a sound in the car or the engine or the tire or the parts of the vehicle, howsoever advanced and automated it is, has this awareness, has this conscience in the middle of the night to say, sir, something is wrong. That, my friends, is the difference between AI and being human. So with that, I bring to you the dissection that we are here for. As all of you know, I'm a lawyer, having practiced a couple of decades in the fields of law, right? Maritime, criminal, civil, on prosecution, on defense, right? Being in charge of the ocean security of the country, right? We come across a lot of experiences which give us a different perspective towards life. Where do you use intelligence? How much do you believe in intelligence? How much do you depend on artificial intelligence? And where do you trust your instinct? Where do you trust the higher energy which is telling you that something is wrong? That energy is nothing but Aham, Bramhasmi. I am the Bramha. I am the Brahman. I am the entire Brahmand, that is the universe. The entire power of universe rests in me. I am one with the universe. How does it affect law? How does it affect life of a lawyer? And how does it impact the entire society at large? Because lawyers are social engineers to a great extent. We frame the policies of the country. We frame the lives of thousands and lakhs and crores of people. Our one wrong argument before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and which may reflect in the particular judgment and which will set the entire tone in the negative meter scale, or for that matter, positive meter scale. If you entirely believe in artificial intelligence, you are blindfolded, you blindly trust it, there is going to be a setback. There is going to be a failure. And mind you, there will be a failure. Because AI is nothing but a prompt that you have put on the click of a button, on an AI app, software or platform, and which assimilates all the information that has been fed on the entire universal web. That's why we called it WWW. The entire web, whatever information is available, it assimilates all of it in a fraction of a second. And then whatever prompt you have put, it gives you a strategic information, a well-crafted draft, and an output which suffices you just for the purpose. You may customize it by giving more prompts. There are apps. So how does this help? Now I'm going to give you 3 stages. One is an intern. Most of you must be from the law school. So there are interns, law interns who are still studying. Second is a just become fresh lawyer, right? Then there is a senior lawyer. Let us consider I am in that space. And then there is a judge. The interns or the paralegals are conducting their researches sitting in the office. They have been instructed by the freshly graduated lawyer to say, you have to do this. Give me this proposition or this principle or this ratio. You will find it on the web. They go to SCC Online, they go to AIR, they go to Manupatra, they go to LexisNexis. They type the prompt, but they don't know the entire picture of the matter. Differentiating facts from the ratio. Ratio decidendi and obiter dictum, you will learn it during the course of your law studies. So he does it mechanically. He gives about 100 judgments. He brings those judgments, either in soft copy or a hard copy, gives it to the fresher. The fresher, who has just been instructed by a senior lawyer like me that these are the set of facts, very briefly, not entirely, you need to find me these ratios on this legal propositions. He sorts it out. He gives about 50 of them to the senior. The senior, who has been briefed with the entire facts and circumstances of the case, right, shortens it still and brings it down to about 10 or just 5 crisp judgments, which are bang on point. Now, when that happens, what is happening? This filtering process is happening. AI does this in a click of a button. That is a threat to the existence, and that creates identity crisis in the minds of these lawyers or the chain of lawyers. And then what happens is a lawyer or counsel like me goes to the court, presents all the judgments and tells the judge, you have to give judgment based on these facts and based on these precedents. That is judgment laid down by the Supreme Court and the Honorable High Courts. Then what happens? The judge says, okay, I have got filtered material. You can argue the case, we argue the case, we refer to the judgments, and then the judge goes back into the chambers. Now he has got a judicial clerk who is also a student. Now there is a parallel system working. And for some reason I don't know, some judicial clerks who are just graduates have this high that we are the judicial clerks. So what they do is that they go directly to the AI, they put in these soft copies, put in a set and say, compare and give a comprehensive judgment suiting the facts in light of these precedents or judgments that have been given. And then there comes a draft of the judgment. Now this draft is technically corrected by these juniors and then goes to the learned judge who goes through it, says, facts are correct, circumstances are correct, precedent is well applied, okay, proofreads the draft and gives it. What happens? It kills speed, so maximum disposal. But hey, here is the glitch. The matter is a murder matter. And that murder matter, the boy who has committed that murder is briefing me. AI doesn't sit with that boy who has allegedly committed the murder. AI doesn't help him wipe his tears. AI doesn't help him understanding what were the circumstances under which he committed the alleged act. His life is on stake. His future is at stake. His entire family is at stake. The entire family reputation is at stake. Does AI understand this? The answer is no. So the difference is being humane, having the humanitarian approach towards a particular thing. Mechanically drawing an algorithm, mechanically drawing a system of analyzing things and coming to a particular judgment is only machine, not human. That is the biggest exposure and the vulnerability that we face in the age of AI. Why we say age of AI? Because we must understand this, that AI was born way centuries in the past. We have realized it now, and it is here to stay. So what can we do? The best endeavor that the human mankind has ever done is adaptation, and that is why we grow. That is why we are called human. To err is human, to forgive is divine. And we learn by erring, we learn by making mistakes. AI cannot correct its own mistakes. Human supervision is necessary. And there is where we as humans are superior to AI, artificial intelligence. The word itself signifies, the nomenclature itself signifies that the intelligence is artificial. It is fed in. Where does it come from? It comes from the human mind. It comes from the analytical mind. The algorithm, self-algorithm writing, self-destruction mechanisms are yes in play, but unless and until they are triggered by the human, it doesn't work. And similarly, when I appear before the court and I have a judgment and the final hearing has already happened, I can still tell the judge, after looking at the judgment, that you have committed a mistake. And that's where we go to the higher courts and tell that the lower court committed a mistake, because this was not the approach that was required. This was the approach that was required. Fortunately, I have never had a conviction in my life. None of my clients have ever got convicted. 100% acquittal when I'm working on the defense. 100% conviction when I'm working on the prosecution side. But the intention is to ensure that law is supreme. So when we talk about the paradox of vulnerability and power, understand that with great power comes great responsibility at the same time. With great power comes great vulnerability. We say power corrupts absolutely. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But when we are in the age of artificial intelligence, and when we know that the algorithm can be corrupted, the algorithm is going to become so powerful that is going to make you vulnerable, that is going to expose you in such manner which is unimaginable to the human mankind. That is the time when you need to be Haribhav. And there is Haribhav in each and every one of us, the state of awareness in the middle of the night. This man is driving for the 72 hours, but he's still aware. And he says, sir, there is something wrong. So when that judge writes that judgment, can the judge now stand in the shoes of that judge? One mistake that you commit based on all the material that has been gathered on basis of artificial intelligence, on basis of softwares, on basis of apps, you have the power to send that boy in the gallows, to hang him, to sentence him for life, or to acquit him with a humanitarian approach that no, the murder that was committed by him was an act of self-defense, because the man who allegedly he murdered was raping his mother, and in saving that mother, he killed that man. Would you call it a murder? Will AI call it a murder? That, my friends, is the difference between artificial intelligence and AI. So with great power comes great vulnerability. But at the same time, understand, adaptation, human mind is supreme. I come from a great institution in this very city, which unfortunately we call the Oxford of the East, when we existed when Oxford didn't exist at all, right? We are in Pune. I come from a college called ILS Law College, most of you might have heard. And the motto of the college is Dharme Sarvam Pratishtitam. So I walk up to my principal and ask her, Vaijayanti Joshi, Dr. Vaijayanti Joshi, Madam, what is this written? I want to know this. This is a Rucha from the Rugaveda. What is it? Dharme Sarvam Pratishtitam, what does it mean? Righteousness is supreme. You have to be correct. You have to be righteous in all senses. AI doesn't have the power of being righteous. AI just has the power to decide black and white. It doesn't seem to have a grade shade yet. Okay? So dharmo vishwasya jagatah pratishtha loke dharmishtam praja upasarpanti dharmena papam apanudati dharme sarvam pratishtitam tasma dharma paramam vadanti. Why? Law is supreme because law stands on the foundation and only foundation of righteousness. The God of my profession is Lord Krishna, the first lawyer and the best one. When he said, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamayam paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. When he said that, what did he say? Righteousness will always win. And it is this righteousness which will definitely make you vulnerable. But when you embrace this vulnerability, when you embrace this weakness, when you embrace this exposure, that will give you the power within. And that is exactly when Krishna said to Arjun. When Arjun said, and he was in a dilemma, how do I kill them? वो अपने हैं. Krishna said only one line of righteousness, one line of truth, bare truth. अगर अपने हैं, तो सामने क्यों हैं? Correct? And therefore, my friends, in this age of artificial intelligence, where the paradox that vulnerability and power are two faces of the same coin, right? When you flip, you need to have a balance, and let us not forget the coin, if stands, always has a third side. And that cannot be done by the AI, that can only be done by the human mind. And when human mind does that, that is the sense of awareness. That is in legal language what we call, and what happens between vulnerability and power experiences. We call ourselves in legal language the witness, because I am the witness of this transition between the ages of AI, from human to artificial. You must have seen the Terminator. Terminator was AI, nothing else. Okay? And therefore, when we talk about paradox, right, it is one and the same side. It is mutually exclusive. Is it? Or mutually coexistent? I think it is mutually coexistent, because both of them walk hand in hand. But the third side is what the human mind will always judge. And there is the sense of awareness, consciousness. And the paradox, we have to adapt, we have to use. You have to be witness. I am that. We heard Soham. I am that. What all of us need to be, that. And that is nothing but the witness to this entire process of transition between human and artificial, and to ensure that righteousness prevails. Power and vulnerability are balanced, and both move hand in hand towards a better society, towards a progressive society, and towards a better world. And this power is within me to create something phenomenal and to destroy everything, to be the Bramha on one end, to be the Shiva on the other. And therefore, my dear friends, this is a concept that all of us must embrace, just like the artificial intelligence. We adapt, we grow, we learn, we commit mistakes, we develop, and we create. Ladies and gentlemen, Aham Bramhasmi. Jai Hind.